Let's wait until it tells us. And it tells us, Adam, we are live. Happy Friday.
Hey. Thanks, folks, for joining us. I'm Adam.
And I'm Paul with Vincent Esquire. And if it's Friday, Adam, what does that mean?
It's time for a Learn a Little QuaranTEN edition.
And the crowd goes wild. How's your Friday been? How's the week been? We barely talk these days.
Exactly. Just, dude, so busy. No, it was a good week, other than the rain that's happening lately, but we're getting there. Good. It's good for the plants.
So, Adam, I know you're scrubbing my Facebook page often, so you probably know that in today's QuaranTEN edition,
without question,
we're talking private money lending. Oh my God!
Exactly. That's why I came here, along with the other tens of singles
worth of people. Yeah,
ones and ones.
I'm guessing we get anywhere between 1 and maybe 11. 11 seems to be the magic number.
So without further ado, what does that even mean, man?
So private money lending is when you use somebody else's money for your project. In our line of work, we help a lot of clients with this venture. TGIF to you, Gregory. So let's say you're a single member flipper and you want to take down a house down the street. Well, most investors, and if not all investors, want to not use their own money. They want to use other people's money. So when you are going to use other people's money, there are a couple things to think about. And I am going to punt this portion of the show to my friend Adam to talk about what are some of the ways people are taking other people's money and how are they kind of securing that, Adam?
Well, there's the old-fashioned way of just taking it, no paperwork, and just putting it to use, and hopefully paying the person back at the end. If you're the lender,
handshakes.
Not a great idea. Handshakes. This is a handshake arrangement.
Right.
It's passable in certain situations until it's not, and then you got some. Both parties have some headaches. The other way, the most common way, is somebody has money but doesn't want to do the work, doesn't have the time, expertise, that sort of thing. That's the lender that's going to give some money to that buddy who's flipping houses or colleague. And that generally you would want to put together some paperwork, and the lender would want to be secured through a note and mortgage. So that's a note, promissory note, promises to pay back. It sets out the terms. And the mortgage is the thing that would get recorded like any other mortgage. You've all heard of a mortgage. The mortgage is a document that's down in the county records saying that this particular piece of property has a mortgage on it that says the lender's owed X number of dollars. And until that amount is paid, the mortgage remains there and gets knocked out. It gets satisfied, satisfaction of mortgage is filed, or some similar document when the person gets paid off. So that's a common way, is to do the note and mortgage with the borrower, the flipper or other project manager giving a note and mortgage to the lender. How did that?
That was really great, Adam. Is it over? That's really good.
That's all I got.
Wow, and we're really boring people. So we have drafted a private money lender user for today's call, and it's Kelly Stumphauser, and we're going to bring her into the studio here because she's more interesting than we are. So she's going to talk to the dozens of thousands of 8 or 9 people that are watching, and we're going to get in her. Hey, look, it's Kelly. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hey.
Happy Friday. How are you doing?
Happy Friday. How's it
going? Pretty good. We got 10 or 20,000 people wondering what you're up to that are just anxiously waiting.
Don't get nervous.
Don't get nervous. So we were briefly boring people with what private money lending is, and to break it up, we thought it best to get a practitioner in here, and then we will bombard you with questions about how you found a bunch of folks to give you money for your projects, and how you got to where you are. So why don't you tell us how you got into getting other people's money for your projects?
Okay. OPM, other people's money, my favorite topic.
OPM, that's right.
So when I started, I JV'd everything. So unfortunately, when you're just getting your legs underneath you, you got to give up a bit of money. And for me, the best deal that I could offer up was, my time and my efforts and splitting profits. And I did that on my first few deals that enabled me to get a little traction and get a resume, if you will. I probably did that for the first few flips that I did. Once I built up a little income in my self-directed, I would start lending out to other folks and they in turn would lend to me. So I've done the self-directed IRA route. Once I built out the turnkey company and we built it to scale, what I found was that a lot of my investors also wanted to lend. And people who thought turnkey investing would be super passive ultimately found out that at the end of the day, you're still owning property. And so they decided they wanted out of the turnkey game and they truly wanted to be passive and they wanted to lend. So I'm fortunate enough now to have access to, I was trying to figure this out earlier, but we're probably $15 to $20 million in private money that we have access to. Right now, we do still facilitate on a per property basis. So there's one lender per property. And we're super systemized now. Like everything's built out internally for rolling folks from one project right into another. But in my case, I'm lucky enough that I borrow 100% of the funds that I need. So as you guys know, typically people are borrowing at 70 to 80% LTV. And if you're running volume, that can still be extremely costly. So we're able to get 100% of the funds that we need. But I have a lot of traction now. I've done several hundred loans. I have no defaults. So just takes a little bit to build up that track record.
Yeah, no, and we happen to be talking today when we bothered you to be on the show, and you guessed anywhere around, and it's obviously a range because no one's keeping, per deal, but somewhere around 400 deals you've done without a default, which knock on a lot of wood. That's really impressive.
Yeah, thanks. I think that goes to one, that's experience, but two, it's really carefully analyzing everything that you do and never making risky decisions and never putting your lenders in a risky position. And God forbid, if things don't work out, you make sure that they get paid first.
Yeah, that'll keep them coming back for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things you mentioned, just to clarify, you said you had some investors in your turnkey business, which means they were investing in turnkey rentals. Is that right? And they actually transitioned into lending to on individual deals?
That's correct. Some people do both. Some people own property and they lend. Some people ultimately, they're done buying properties. They can only get so many loans and now they're just wanting to lend their money. Some people have never bought property and they're just private lenders.
That's cool. And then just kind of as basic as it gets, how did you kind of, you didn't just stumble into these people at Walgreens. I mean, were you going to events? Like, how were you getting your name out there that this is what you do, and then this is how you can like help them make money while also making yourself money? Was it RIAs? Was it IMN events? Was it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad stuff? Or how do you get rolling?
Been everything. Way back in the day, used to buy people pizza and wine and, have a big screen.
Always works. That works.
And talk about, real estate in your backyard and becoming a private lender and what that looks like. I've sat at tables in the back of like equity trust events trying to capture folks that have self-directed IRAs. Like, they love the concept of a self-directed IRA, but as you guys know, the vast majority of the folks that are in that space have no idea who to lend to. And the custodian can't refer anybody. So I those rooms and trying to catch people on lunch breaks. Definitely the RIAs in my very early days. It's a great way to meet people that will lend to you and you can lend to them, since there's all the requirements with the self-directeds that you can't lend to yourself. Later on, as I started the turnkey business, I met folks through referral agencies. So they're the ones that refer a lot of investors to me. And we've invested some money in SEO, obviously, on the website. So Our private lending platform is right out there. I definitely say, you know, invest some time in partnering with you guys, like good lawyers who can help you draw up a promissory note and mortgage. It's really important to work with a title company that knows how to facilitate all of that. Our title company does all of that work for us. They file our mortgages. They kind of walk our lenders through the process. We have a very specific document that we send to people that outlines the entire private lending process for them. It's a reference document, and we always give out references to our lenders so they can talk to other folks that lend to us right now. And then, as I mentioned, now we have a system built out through our Infusionsoft. So one of our value plays is that you can constantly keep your money in rotation. Since I'm a volume producer, you know, as soon as you're coming out of one loan, our hope is to put you right into another loan. And so we actually have someone in our back office that's working with our investors saying, hey, you know, we see this property is going to close on this date. This is what we looks that your payoff is to be. We have this new opportunity that would be closing next Tuesday. Are you interested? 9 out of 10 times people want to roll their funds right over. Otherwise, we have that go out every week with a list of all the properties that we have, and it'll give the address, it'll give the loan amount, it'll give just a little bit of information on the project that we're taking on, and our investors can literally click on the link to then reserve that property to lend on. So
and that's important too, because even with self-directed IRAs, if your money isn't doing something, then it's not earning anything. So, you know, having that ability, you know, and that people keep coming back to you because they know that maybe their money sits for a day or two or a few days, but it's not going to sit around until, you know, they bump into some other flipper at a RIA event and, you know, not do anything with the money. So Daryl's got a question for you. Daryl Brooks out in Detroit.
What's up, Daryl?
And if you can read the question, I don't know if you're on your phone, but if it's too small, he asks, he wants you to talk about your system. So like, how long did that take for you to come up with? And can you speak to some of the kind of back office-y stuff that is not intellectual property for Guardian City Investments?
You know, it took a little while. I mean, honestly, it was a brain drain, you know, we were having, and a lot of it's relevant to volume, right? If you're doing 20 deals a year, it's not a big deal. I do over 200 deals a year on the resi side. So that's just a lot of facilitation in and out of loans. And it used to literally be working with people via email. You know, we have a standing call with our title company every week. So we know what's in clear close status and what we're getting ready to close. And we have our payoffs ready and the lenders that are coming out of those. And then we're just trying to line them up with new purchases. My COO built out a really brilliant system in Infusionsoft. And that I can't really speak to. He's the genius behind that.
I have no idea.
But that's where, you know, the back office is just loading in information, pictures and data on all the new properties that we have coming in. And that goes out to, I think our lender list is a couple thousand folks right now. Some are active, some are inactive, but that goes out every single week so people can see the new deals that we have coming in and they can have the opportunity to lend on them. But the title company, Daryl, I'll tell you, the title
That's cool.
Huge benefit to us. Because we run volume through them, they're very good partners of mine. They facilitate a lot of that. They know how to handle our lenders. The vast majority of my folks are out of state, and so the lawyer at my title company will help out quite a bit on that end.
Nice.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, title companies, people aren't necessarily sure what they do, but they can make processes a lot faster than others. So good ones are great. Bad ones are really not great.
That's 100% true.
There's a real wisdom there. Adam, you got a question?
No, it's great. You know, I think for anybody who's just getting started, I think you've touched on some important stuff. You know, you mentioned JVing, and you gotta give a little up when you're first getting started to get to the next step, which is establishing that reputation you've been working on and have established over hundreds and hundreds of deals. So, you know, I think that's really good advice for people to be we're aware of and keep in mind as they're working hard. You know, you got to have a long-term play on that and establish that reputation and that credibility, and then people start coming to you, which is huge.
That's right. Half of the profit is better than no profit, right? So you have to start somewhere.
Yep.
That's right. So we got another question from Greg Danasek, who has a great family photo in there. He wants to know, what's the advantage of private money over traditional bank loan money? Why don't you give kind of the high level on why it's going to be a lot easier for you to do what you do with private money instead of bank money?
You know, it's been so long since I've done bank money, and I could tell you a million reasons why it's better. But, you know, as I mentioned, banks tend to be pretty conservative. They're going to lend it. Well, right now they may not lend for anything. I don't really know what the lending environment is on rehab stuff, but they're going to want 70 to 80% of ARV, and the ARV is theirs. Typically, they want appraisals. So you're going to have to come to the deal with cash. You're going to have to play by their rules. I know some of the hard money lenders out there and the bank lenders that I know, the way they do their draw systems and their inspections just doesn't work for my process. We sort of design what our lending platform is, and our private lenders work accordingly to the platform that I've designed versus the reversal. You know, private money, it's all relational, and then you get reference to get even more private money. Banks, I don't know. Anytime I've ever tried
long sigh.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, and just by velocity, right? I mean, if you're getting a bank loan, if you ask them to close in 45 days on a residential, they're going to have to move mountains for you.
Right.
So, you know, private money, you're getting that money the next day when it closes. So,
yeah, I mean, we have done same day funding from private lenders. It's definitely more expeditious. It's definitely less bureaucratic, and and as mentioned, you can customize it the way that you need it for your business.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
Good question,
we
Greg.
got another one. We got another.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, Greg Danasek knocking it out of the park. Here we got another one. Another pal, Kevin.
Hey, what's up?
These the valued add partners are keeping us busy, which is always helpful. Can you read that question, Kelly?
Well, it's on my phone, and it's
so small. So he says,
no sun to see anything.
Yeah. So he said, do you have a minimum amount of money for residential property you will take, and how does that compare to your multifamily minimum? So like for private lenders, what do you guys? You know, what are folks giving you to use? Are you taking 10,000 from people, or only 100,000, or what are you looking for?
Well, we talked to you guys about this earlier. We do not presently have a fund, so we lend even in multifamily. Kevin, we have like 1 or 2 lenders per deal on the multifamily side. On the single family side, 1 lender, 1 property. I will only do first and only lien position on those properties. So minimum amount, I mean, we're in Cleveland, we're lucky to have really good price points, but I'd say still minimum amount with purchase plus rehab is maybe 65, 70. On average, our loans are probably 90 to 100.
That's great.
Nice. Good.
And that's kicking, and for you guys, right, you're kicking 12% to the people giving you money, right? So that's a solid return if you're interested in that sort of thing.
My lenders are really happy. You know, they're referring their family members. It's a great return. And as I said, you know, the idea is to compound the interest, to keep their money in rotation. And we've been successful in doing that. So
it's good.
It's great. Thanks for the question, Kevin.
Kevin Hackbart, Texas's own, the Texas Ranger. Walker Treasure. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you came aboard, because this is much more interesting than me and Adam sort of talking about on the fringes how this stuff works. So
yeah, no, for sure. A lot of good insight there. Appreciate it, Kelly.
Yeah, of course.
So so how do people find out more about you? Well, before I let you answer, I want to let everybody know that Here's the Deal podcast is going to be releasing the #1 podcast in Bay Village, Ohio. with Kelly on next week. So that is obviously a place they're gonna, thousands are gonna tune in. But how else are they gonna find you and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously they can find me on Facebook. I presume this is probably where.
Here we are, right?
And or on our website. My website is Prosper Cleveland. Email is Kelly, Kelly @prospercleveland.com.
Well, great. Adam, do you got anything else?
No, just thanks, Kelly, for joining us, making this for the inaugural guest star.
Surprise guest.
QuaranTEN. Yeah, it was good. I'm glad we did it.
I know I learned a little. So, all right. Thanks so much. Everybody have a good weekend.
We'll see ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Adam, she bailed. It's time for us to bail.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate your time. Hope you learned a little. And have a good weekend. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, just ask on the old comments, and we'll be able to follow up. And we'll put Kelly's website and stuff too, so people can reach out if they did learn a little. See you, Adam. See ya. Bye-bye. Thanks.